Hey, this is Static for Produce Like a Pro here in New Jersey at my home-based studio called the Noise Room. And something recently came up in the studio that I thought would be the perfect subject for my first video with the channel. So sit back, enjoy the theme song, like, subscribe, and comment below, and come on this journey with me into reamping. Yeah, I know, I'm making a big deal out of it, but I am really excited about reamping. I think it's a ton of fun to be able to even listen to yourself play the same part through a bunch of different amps and pedals. When and why do we reamp? Well, there's a few reasons. So we can focus on our playing, that way we can worry about our feel and our tone and the quality of our parts, and worrying about getting that perfect sound later. If we're in a time crunch, so we could get the artist tracking and playing their parts, and then we could work on getting those sounds after they leave. And finally, we could leave more options and control for the producer. As a remote studio musician, I might not really know what the producer really wants for that song. So if I track it directly and reamp it, they have all the options and control at their fingertips. First thing I did was grab my direct box. This is my direct box, real basic box here. I plugged an XLR into the direct box, and the direct box goes into one of my cleaner preamps. The next thing I did was plug an instrument cable into my direct box. This instrument cable will be the cable that I plug my guitar and bass into. If I wanted to, I could also go to an amp while I'm going direct, but for my purposes, I chose to play direct. After I tracked all my instruments direct, then we have the star of the show, the reamp box.
As you fill the world with shame, what kind of fool do you think I am?
So now we're set up to reamp. Tommy Buddha came, he sang his vocals down. I had direct guitars and direct bass parts that I recorded in because we didn't have a lot of time before he wanted to come. But once he was done, I have time now to find the sounds that I want. This is what we have. We were going for like an early 70s funk thing. So this is a direct bass. Oh, let's take the reverb off for the drums. So this is a direct bass, just plugged in through a simple DI. I have a Whirlwind DI that I plugged in my jazz bass. Here's some Strats. This is some really, really dry, clean. For the kind of music that I wanted to represent, we're really going for that kind of early 70s funk sound. I know it feels good for what I want it to be. And now I get to spend time on getting sounds. So when we go to reamp, I'm going to show you many examples of the sounds I really want and show you the sounds I don't want. It's completely objective. Or for the style that I was thinking, I want to go a certain direction. But if I wanted to make the song heavier, it's possible. It leaves so many possibilities and options just to find sounds and try things out. Another way this could be really helpful is if you're doing work for sings or for placements and you're not fully sure what sound they really want, you can at least get your performances. As you start getting feedback on the sound of the track, you can easily change it without having to replay certain things. So reamping really is all the rage. It's such a convenience. It really helps. It helps with flow, and when you're working by yourself, time and flow is so important. So let's talk about setting up a reamp box. First thing you need to do is figure out where your line outputs are on your interface. On this particular interface, for the example, there are two line outputs on the back that require a 1/4-inch TRS connection. So I have a cable that goes 1/4-inch TRS to XLR male. which will then go into the XLR female input of the reamp box. Now from the reamp box, I will be taking a 1/4-inch instrument cable out of the output. From the output of the reamp box, I will then go to my amplifier or my pedals to reamp. Essentially, when you hit play on your DAW, you are sending your signal routed internally to your line output on your interface, out of that output, down the cable, all the way to the reamp box, from the reamp box down an instrument cable to your amplifier. The reamp box in the DAW is basically replacing the performer. So as you can see, what's happening here is I have it routed to my reamp box. I'm coming out of output 4 my interface into the reamp box. Out of the reamp box, I am plugged into the front of a bass amp, bringing the bass amp back in, and let's see what happens. And now we're going to try one of the guitars. So I'm going to turn it down all the way. So I'm pressing play on the track. I shut it off into speakers. Now the only sound we're going to hear right now is coming out of the amp. As we do that, let me set up the track I'm going to record it to. So I have a track set up already, a new track set up to record the guitar amp. So I'm going to hit that's ready to go. And we could try some sounds. It's really easy to do. Again, I just have a cable coming out of an output on my interface. I have it plugged into the reamp box. Out of the reamp box is the instrument cable that's going into my amps. And then you essentially get to just really sit back and listen to a bunch of performances and experiment with different amp sounds. You could play through your pedals. You just have a whole world of options that come to you by doing this. So let's just listen to the guitar through there. Here we are with another amp. We're going to do the same guitar part. Now this is where it can get really fun. This amp has new tube technology, so it's kind of like a modeling amp, but it has some tube saturation on the front end. It has a wide variety of sounds, and I've been using it on a lot of tracks. By doing this, I really just want to show you all the options you can have by reamping. The same guitar part that I played could go from sounding like we're hanging in a cool old 60s, late 60s funk record to bringing it all the way possibly into a later heavy funk rock sound. This example is going to be a little crazy sounding because I'm actually going to shuttle through sounds while I'm playing. And again, I can only do this because I'm by myself. I've already played my parts. I know the parts work in the song. I like the way they sound. last part I really want to show everyone is how to use your pedals with the reamp box. And yeah, let's try that. Here we are on a phone. As you can see, I have my session open. I have my stereo drum print. I have my direct bass. I have my reamp bass. I have my 2 direct guitars. I have my reamp guitar, and I have the lead vocal. So first thing we're going to listen to is the reamped guitar, and then the second guitar with some built-in amp model settings, just for comparison, so you can see that there really is no right or wrong way. It's all about preference and what you want. But the fact that I recorded the direct guitar originally gives me the options. So I made the decision to use the Universal Audio Tweed amp on my 1 guitar, and then the second guitar that I reamped, I hit my Vox AC4 and my pedal board and performed pedal changes while the song was jamming through. And we're going to listen to the bass amp. I went through an old Fender Basement with 2 15-inch speakers in it. Everything was mic'd with a Soyuz bomblet, as well as coming in through my Manley Vox box. So let's give it a listen. Here's the vocals. Play with the pedals and the wah after the fact while listening to the performance. So now, for a change in perspective, we're going to listen to just direct guitars. Let's kill the reverb. I'm going to mute the reamp guitar. I'm going to mute the reamp bass. We're going to listen to direct bass from the same section. I'll mute the vocals and then introduce the vocals while we're listening. So as you could tell, this is still a very lively performance, and that's the super cool thing about reamping, because it's still played. It's not that we're fixing the guitars or changing the integrity of the performance. Basically, we just played through a direct box. I used a plugin from Universal Audio that was not committed to the track, and I was able to have a good time jamming out to the song, but once it was recorded, it was just clean and direct, and it gave me all these options after to figure out which direction to go with the tonality. So it was super exciting to have my direct guitar come out and just jam through my pedals. Thank you so much for watching. Please share with us in the comments below your experiences on reamping. What are your favorite reamp boxes to use? What scenarios do you choose to reamp in? How does reamping affect your daily workflow? What do you like to drink when you reamp? Do you drink seltzer? Do you drink coffee? Do you drink tea? And if you have any questions about reamping, please leave those in the comments as well, and we'll try to answer those as soon as possible. Until then, stay inspired, stay creative, and I'll see you next time.